Welcome to our booth tour here to transform with AI, but especially about Agentic AI. For Agentic AI, the key question, of course, is what kind of skills do you need? We're going to discuss even how children start working with AI up to, let's say, the experts. If you're an expert and you want to educate yourself about AI and want to start using it, but also if you have only industry knowledge or you have no knowledge at all, how to get equipped to be successful with Agentic AI, but much more. We have some great cases where we have insights in the CPG market, in the retail market, in the manufacturing market, where we're going to deep dive and see what is the current status of Agentic AI, where are we, and what's the path to success. But also with companies like Canon, where we dive deep into their whole journey from how they went from nothing and some failure up to successful implementations of AI and now moving to Agentic AI. And last but not least, we're going to talk about a company there is a lot of buzz around, positive buzz, Inflection AI. They do something different than all the other LLM companies, and there's a reason for this, where I believe many companies are waiting for this, many enterprises are waiting for this, and I'm going to talk to Shelton. He's the COO, and he's going to unveil his strategy and why it is so important. So, join me, and I'm going to unveil these great stories here at UiPath Forward, number 7 already in Vegas. Great stories, so let's go.
This again is a process that takes hours, right?
Document processing is one of the key type of activities in many organizations. I have found two people, one from Canon and one from Greenlight Consulting, and they had a great case where they use document understanding and document processing. Hi Thomas, hi Johann.
Hi, nice to
How are
meet
you?
Good.
Agentic AI, we have seen Daniel doing his speech. One part is the document understanding is part of Agentic AI. You're working at Canon.
Yes.
And you work together on a project with document understanding. Maybe you can explain how you started and how you're moving step by step to Agentic AI.
Sure.
Maybe you can kick off and explain how did you get started, because I can imagine it's not such an easy project.
Right.
So how did you get started?
So I think the best way to start is, I heard somebody say yesterday, AP invoices aren't easy.
Okay.
So we learned that, right?
Okay.
So, and Canon has a lot of invoices,
Yeah.
a lot. So
that's
one
a positive thing.
Yeah, yes. Well, when the money goes out the door, not so much.
Yeah.
But, so we had a lot of invoices. So one of our areas that we started with, 4,000 invoices a month. Mm-hmm. So we had a lot of people working on this, just all entering invoices all day. And we knew that we had to get better at this, more efficient, more optimal process. So we reached out to UiPath and asked, do you have something that can help us with this influx of invoices? So introduced us to Greenlight, and they came in and introduced us to document understanding. And so, we started the process. I think it took us about 4 or 5 months, the first pass, to get it up and running. And it's been processing the invoices seamlessly. I think we have over 90% straight through to our ABS system. Mm-hmm. So that's awesome. So, our staff isn't sitting there keying invoices all day. And our team has become less of a payment factory and more on the vendor relations side, right? So this wasn't about a headcount reduction. This was about how can we use our staff more appropriately, right? So a lot more vendor relations now. They're working together with the vendors. So,
but when you started, you mentioned to me you had to struggle, and then you called Johann.
Yeah, so our first pass at this was, we failed, right? So, it didn't work. After about a year, we shut it down. It just wasn't going to work. We were seeing maybe 35% straight through, which is not, we're better off keying them by hand at that point, right?
You see that quite often, so you jumped in.
Tons of times, right? And so what happens is, I think the technology is something that customers don't know how to get going with at first. Yeah. And our team has like a blueprint for how to get this done. We came in and did the first few automations 3-4 months, something like that, and really showed like real success, right? And then we've helped Canon kind of grow their team and be self-sustaining now, right? So that they can take the next steps toward agentic automation.
And invoices is quite a structured type of document.
So actually, we started with the harder invoices, right?
Okay.
So they were very unstructured documents.
Okay.
So we started with the hard stuff first, right? And then we just recently went. So we were so happy with the results of that, we actually transferred all our AP invoices to document understanding with Greenlight's assistance. I can tell you their expertise in this area, we would have never got it. Would have never got it done without Greenlight coming in and helping us, guide us down that path. So.
And we were talking about agentic AI. So what kind of steps do you see happening the coming 6 to 12 months? You spoke even with Daniel, and probably you as well. I'd like to have both your views. So you want to kick off?
Sure. So, first things first, we got to get to the cloud, right, to really take advantage of these things. So we're working with Canon right now to get them migrated to the cloud, right? And I think we're going to start to build that roadmap for what those use cases look like, right, once we're there, right? So we're going to work with Tom and his team to build that funnel out.
And can you say something about this use case, or you can jump in?
Yeah, so we were very fortunate to have Daniel visit Canon, and he met with our CFO and our CTO about how can we use these tools, Autopilot, and all the agentic RPA. So we actually, our systems at Canon are very antiquated. They're old, right? And Canon does not want to continue to invest in these systems, right? So I think they foresee using, for example, like an Autopilot on top of these older systems and have Autopilot kind of do the heavy lifting that these systems can't do anymore for us. So in one area, especially, is our copier billing. So copier billing is very tedious and not easy. There's a lot of steps, a lot of different contracts. So we think Autopilot can definitely assist that, right? So, and ease the burden off our staff a little bit.
And where's then the agentic part jumping in? Because currently you're more using API and document understanding.
Yes.
So which part of the agentic is the next step that you're going to use?
Yeah, so I think as Johann said, we're kind of road mapping that right now, how we're going to use this, but I definitely think we have a couple of good use cases. I can tell you in my area, which is finance, just giving our users easier access to the numbers. So one of the struggles we have today is when senior management asks for something, it's kind of a scramble to get the number, right? So we would love to have a tool like Agentic AI over it to ask the question, what were our sales in copier last, this copier division, and have that returned right back to our CFO or our president, right? To not have this scramble to get numbers all the time.
And I think the thing that's important to realize is that the automation part is still part of the agentic automation, right? So we're still figuring out what the bones and muscle of the automation has to be so the agents can leverage that and return data and results faster.
And one part of the agentic AI is either have more autonomous type of processes. Do you see that happening as well, or you have this already implemented where some parts of the process are autonomous, or do you still monitor it?
So at Canon, my team is mostly we keep all that in our division. So we create the bots. We time them. A lot of them are unattended, so they run at various times. So we manage that all. We have not really become we're very centralized when it comes to RPA, right? So we haven't gone with that decentralized model yet.
And one of the other part is people are scared.
Yes.
And they say, everything is replaced, we don't have a job anymore, but I think you are the example where the opposite is happening.
Yes. The thing I think that people don't realize is how much more you can do. I don't know, Tom, you've mentioned before about, you would think AP invoicing and automation is not going to be a way to generate money, but because you can have better conversations with your vendors, right? You can actually find a way to invoice faster and generate money better, right? And it doesn't feel straightforward, right? So it's not about replacing jobs. It's about doing the work better, right? Faster, right? Better service levels.
Yeah. So at Canon, traditionally, we never were able to take advantage of cash discounts that our vendors offered us. Yeah. Just because everything took so long to process the invoices, right? So today, we're actually starting to take cash discounts on a lot of them, right? And that really goes right to our bottom line, right? And the CFO loves that, right? So, so that's one thing I can say has been huge for us.
And it was a benefit I don't know if you saw coming.
We did not plan for that. Yeah, it was not planned at all, right? So it was one nice benefit that came out of this.
And this is basically a whole process you went through. If there are many companies that need to start with just maybe RPA or more with AI, how should they get started?
Truthfully, finance, this is just a finance guy here, and as he'll tell you, but I think finance is a great place to go, always, because it's heavily rule-based, right? And repeatable, and data accuracy is paramount, right? So it's you can find a lot of great candidates in the finance area, for sure.
Yeah, so we live in a world of SOX and GAAP, there's rules, right? Like you said, we have a lot of rules in accounting, right?
Yeah.
So this does things that we don't have to worry about, that things are accurate. We like accuracy a lot. So, and we like things done quickly and accurate. So that's what we've been able to do.
Perfect. Great insights in your story.
Thanks, nice to meet you.
Johann, Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas.
Great. And I'm going to the next booth, and thanks for the great story.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care.
I love this type of insights, how they went step by step, basically failing first, and based upon the failure, understand that they needed help, asked an expert team from Greenlight Consulting and helped them with the step-by-step process to get started in the domain of finance with this document processing and document understanding, and built a great use case which is probably relevant for you as well. So let's go to the next booth and see how they can help you in understanding how to start with Agentic AI and step-by-step move into that direction. So let's see if we can find some more people who have a different perspective on Agentic AI. I know Chris. Chris is really a thought leader in the domain for retail, for CPG, for manufacturing, and especially with regard to pricing and inventory optimization. Chris, hi.
Pleasure to meet you.
Some great speech from Daniel about Agentic AI, but you are in a specific domain. One is for price optimization, for inventory optimization, especially in retail, in CPG, in manufacturing, work for large enterprises. So I would like to have an understanding in where are we now today with Agentic AI. Daniel explained 5 steps. 2 of them were already there now, but how is the CPG market, how's the retail market, how are you working with price optimization today in this roadmap to Agentic?
Yeah, sure. I think it's an exciting time in the technology space. We've gone from several years ago, deterministic analytics, business insight, through to predictive and probabilistic capabilities with machine learning, through to the huge hype created with ChatGPT hitting the market a couple of years ago, generative LLMs, and now Agentic, which can hopefully pull all of those pre-existing technologies together to unleash a new era of business performance and uplift. So I think where we're at today, we have machine learning optimization that's being leveraged by the likes of Nike, Heidelberg Materials in retail manufacturing to drive huge margin uplifts, productivity uplifts, conversion rate uplifts using sophisticated machine learning tools. And the future, I think, will be starting to use multi-agent systems that can add additional layers of sophistication to how we think about pricing. So today, we can simulate millions of different price points and the conversion rate probability for a complex basket of goods in manufacturing settings. In the future, in the near future, hopefully, leveraging some of what Daniel showcased with Agent Builder, I think we'll be able to start to overlay into those workflows a buying agent and a selling agent interacting and simulating the negotiation that would be had by the human seller and the human buyer in the near future. And that will add an extra layer of sophistication and capability to those pricing engines that can then enable slightly higher margin uplift, slightly higher productivity uplift. So I think it's really exciting.
And you're working mainly then with structured information. So is there any space where you use LLMs, which are part for the Agentic AI domain? Do you use LLMs at all, or it's not required? And in how do you use them?
So we use them in a couple of specific ways currently. We leverage retrieval augmented generation as part of a product we have on our AI platform called CoDriver. And CoDriver can do a number of different things. So let's use the sales example again and the pricing optimization example. If a seller has had a price range given to them by an AI tool, often they will be slightly cynical and perhaps dubious around the price range that's being given to them to then go and negotiate with the customer. what LLMs can do is provide a level of explainability around how the prediction was arrived at by indexing all of the predictive outputs that have been created, and then in natural language playing back to the seller how we've actually arrived at that prediction, which if we go back a couple of years, it would have been a seller looking at a dashboard and a graph and trying to unpick mathematically how we've arrived at a price, and you end up in a slightly black box situation. So I see LLMs in that case illuminating the black box of predictive engines, which is amazing. I think other use cases starting to use LLMs as part of the communication with the end customer as well. So starting to curate specific types of communication when you have a price that you want to return to a customer. What's the most effective way to then convey that information to elevate the probability of converting that business?
So it's mainly supportive content to facilitate the communication and facilitate that part. And on the other hand, for example, you have an autonomous part in Agentic. Where are we now, and what are the steps to go more autonomous, and which parts are autonomous? Because Daniel mentioned as well, there's 1 billion use cases, and every use case can be divided in very small steps. So autonomous can be one small step autonomous versus end-to-end autonomous, and there's of course a big difference.
I'm personally excited about autonomous multi-agent systems within supply chains or within commercial functions. I think the likes of Agent Builder and getting that tool into the hands of RPA devs and data scientists and data engineers, and starting to experiment with how can we build these sophisticated autonomous systems. And to Daniel's point, taking bite-sized specialist parts of functions and experimenting and then scaling that out into more sophisticated systems with multiple agents that are highly specialized interacting with each other. I think over the next year it's going to be hugely exciting. I can't give a perfect prediction on when we're going to see fully autonomous, supply planning multi-agent systems or pricing agentic systems. But I think we're not too far away, and the innovations that are being released by the likes of UiPath, incorporating with the likes of what Peak does on the machine learning optimization side, I think we can get there within the next 12 months or so.
And one of the key aspects is also real-time data, especially with pricing. Pricing can change all the time. So is this already applied where you inject real-time data, use it in your calculations probably? So I expect that aspect is already covered. Can you explain a little bit more and give some insight?
So there's a few different dimensions with real-time data. There's features that you can incorporate around competitor pricing, which is obviously changing continuously and a great input into a pricing model. There's things like in the manufacturing industry. So Heidelberg Materials, one of our customers, the proximity of the manufacturing facility to where the customer requires their building materials to be delivered is another dynamic situation where other kind of production plants and manufacturing facilities have specific output that they're creating, and in real time that mix of products that is being produced and then sold by other salespeople will be adjusting continuously. That's a key feature into a pricing model, because obviously based on the quantity of material you have available to sell will impact on the price that you're ultimately going to sell it for. So those different real-time dimensions are critical to really sophisticated pricing engines and pricing solutions. And again, I think UiPath, with being the global leader in RPA and their ability to capture data and feed it into other platforms and other systems very quickly is a great kind of solution for that.
And will be mainly business driven, so if there's the use case, you put that part in as a new type of case, new type of automation. One last point is many people are a little bit scared of taking their job. How do you see this? Because there's so many steps in, let's say, either a pricing optimization or an inventory optimization. Is it taking jobs, or is it supporting the people that are working in this domain?
It's an interesting question, and I think I sit on the side of optimism. I have a great belief in the innate creativity of human beings who knew we were going to have prompt engineering jobs a few years ago, who knew we'd have social media management jobs 10 years ago, so we have an incredible capacity to create new, interesting, creative, strategic roles for ourselves. So I sit on the side of optimism. I think agents will inevitably replace some aspects of certain tasks and roles, but I'm a big believer that people will then be able to focus on the more creative, strategic elements of roles. And we've seen that even when we're deploying machine learning optimization solutions into supply chain functions, the liberation of key people within those functions to then focus on things that are, innately creative and strategic and human-shaped, that require critical thought. And I'm a believer that we'll be able to do more of that work and less of the mundane administrative work that agents hopefully will be able to solve for us.
I'm on the same path, but I see it happening indeed, where there's so many different steps that can be improved, augmented, get better business results while keeping the job, but the job will change, and people need to change, that's for sure, because some parts will be taken over and supported.
I think we all owe it to ourselves as technologists, UiPath, Peak, SAP, everyone.
You do it already every day, basically.
Educating and helping people understand. AI is still an umbrella term that is thrown about quite loosely at times. What is machine learning versus generative versus agentic? Helping people understand that will be the first step of the path to helping people understand where is their role and how can they best perform in a world in which increasingly algorithmic automation is throughout our businesses. So I think we can all do our part in helping educate and upskilling everyone around us.
Chris, thanks a lot.
Yeah, real pleasure.
Great insights. I'm going to continue my booth tour, but I really love the story and how you defined the path from where you are now to fully agentic.
Great, thank you. Really great to meet you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So this was Chris. He has great perspective for CPG, for retail, for manufacturing, especially in price optimization, but also in the domain of inventory optimization, mainly using structured information, but also start using unstructured information, especially for helping and facilitating the communication. Now let me go to the next booth and see if we have some more interesting stories to discuss with you and to show you. So many people probably have heard from this company and this person. Ted Shelton, he is from Inflection AI. It's one of the companies that create most buzz in the last month. And we're going to have a conversation about agentic AI, but especially about trust. Ted, how are you?
Good, Ronald. Nice to see you.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me over here. We've seen Daniel on stage. You've been on stage. There's a lot of rumors and let's say noise around your company, but we want to know why. And one of the key words I think is trust. Organizations look for trust if they talk about agentic AI. Daniel was explaining all the steps, but how can you trust your AI? And you have some, I think amazing type of view, amazing type of approach with Inflection AI, and that's why there's so much buzz around your organization. Can you explain how you manage trust?
Absolutely, Ronald. I think we're taking a contrarian view to the industry, and a lot of people look at us and they say, wait, you guys are crazy. Everybody else in the market, all the other model builders, whether it's Anthropic or Gemini or OpenAI, what they say is, we're going to run the model for you. It's a black box, but you can trust us. Bring your data to us in the cloud, keep your data in our cloud, and we'll give you a contractual agreement to make sure that we protect your data. And I think those are great contracts, but there are some companies that say, hey, wait a minute, bad stuff happens. We don't want bad stuff to happen to us. We actually really need to run the AI ourselves. So we've switched that trust equation around and we said, you know what? Instead, we'll trust you with our model. Keep your data and we will give you our model and we'll help you run it yourself. And so that way it's not a black box any longer and a company can own and control that AI entirely themselves. So that private compute is what's so important.
And talking about this black box, everybody wants to have inside transparency on the model, but also if you look to the models, all the companies that you were mentioning, they have more generic models. But you want to customize it and personalize it for your organization. Now, one technology that they use is RAG, where they insert their personal data or the company data into the prompt. But you say you should do it differently. You should have your, let's say, organizational identity and everything what you want to remember in the model.
Absolutely. Well, so it's not that RAG is bad. RAG is good for certain kinds of data. But what we believe is that once you own your own model, that you're able to make it, you can make it your own. You know, if you're Intel and you have your own Intel AI, then Intel should be able to say, hey, we're going to make this AI know who Intel is, what our history is, who our CEOs were, all of our facilities, all of our products, right? And also the culture, the acronyms, the way in which people interact with each other. And it's not just training a model, it's not just fine-tuning a model, but it's also reinforcement learning.
Yeah.
So as my employees are using that model, the model should continue to improve and become a better and better coworker within that environment. And that, one of the things we fundamentally believe is that AI is going to transform the way enterprises work. It is going to be a central intelligence that every employee uses. And employees want to have an intelligence that they're working with that they can feel like it's a real coworker, like it's a part of their organization.
And understand the culture, understand their personality, understand basically everything what you want to have in the model.
Absolutely.
But still with transparency. And then, of course, all the large language models, they're great because they generate content, often to provide additional insights. But we're here at UiPath Forward. You were on stage, and one of the key points for you says, make your data actionable.
That's right.
Because if you can transform the insights into actions, then you really get business value.
No, that's exactly right, Ronald. I mean, I think when we started talking to enterprises about what they really needed from AI, what we heard really clearly was we needed to be able to actually interact with our enterprise information systems, and we needed to interact in a very deterministic way. And we don't want it to be hallucinating when it's interacting with our corporate systems, right? And so we came to UiPath because UiPath actually has that trusted enterprise secure deterministic automation and workflow management. And so what we do is we put that LLM, and not just an LLM, but an entire AI operating system on top of UiPath, so that when we are interacting with an employee and an employee expresses a particular intent to interact with the system, that we can trigger that UiPath automation to go in, pull information from one of those applications or put information into or move information from one to another. And it is that is really going to unleash productivity in the enterprise.
And basically the whole tool that I have is about Agentic AI. Daniel on stage explained it, where are we now and where are we moving to. If you look to Agentic AI from what is your role with Inflection AI into this process of Agentic AI?
So what we believe is that the human-computer interface is going to be transformed by conversation. So what we aim to do is to be able to provide the enterprise with a single conversational entry point for all their employees to all enterprise information systems. And so the challenges that we're going to have over the next couple of years as AI becomes a part of all of these ERP and enterprise software systems is I'm going to have one conversation with SAP, and then I'm going to have one conversation with Workday, and then I'm going to have one conversation with Concur, and employees are going to go insane with all those different conversations, just the same way they've gone insane with all the UIs, right? So we think there's an opportunity here to be the friend of the employee by saying, look, there's one entry point. We're the conversation layer. You have that conversation, we then route that conversation, we manage all those other AIs that are across the enterprise, we manage the interactions through UiPath so that you have a consistent way of being able to gather and follow workflows to get work done in a more personal and comfortable human way.
In the governance that's defined by the organization.
Secure, reliable, in your own private compute environment, and with auditability and compliance.
A bold statement to make it happen, but I think, a great view, and I'm really going to follow you really, really closely. And thanks a lot for sharing your story, not only on stage, but also here with our audience. And I'm going to the next one, see if we can hear more of these type of great stories.
There's amazing stories here. Enjoy your time.
Yeah, thanks. This was Ted, and I think they have an amazing view, amazing vision, and I'm going to follow him closely if he can execute on this and how the market is going to develop, and I will keep you up to date, of course. Hi Nisarg, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
You have a wonderful journey, and on one end you can say if you have a certification, can you get any job? Or if you want something and you get the certification, you can basically get anywhere. Can you explain your story? How did you get started with the help of certification to get your first role?
Sure. So my journey is quite interesting. I started with UiPath Academy. So it's the only place where I can learn a lot deeper and all about it. And when I started learning, I realized, yes, you have to show your skills. And the only way to show your skills and prove that you are certified is to clear the certification. And that's when I got my first certification of UiPath Advanced Developer Certification. And that's when I landed on a job of advanced developer. It was crazy, amazing. And then when I started exploring this new job, that's when I realized now I can step up. In order to step up, I have to step up at a position of solution architect. Now, how do I get the skills? So I again started exploring, and now there's UiPath's solution architect certification. I learned about it. I learned it all from UiPath Academy. There's a dedicated course for the certification. And the moment you complete, I have a certification. I show it to my organization. Internally also, it helps you to grow within your organization as a solution architect. And I was the first one as a solution architect with certification of UiPath. And then, quite amazingly, I got a fascination of completing all these certifications. So I went ahead, I explored, and UiPath has so many amazing certifications which you can clear. And
How many do you have?
I have all.
And how many is that?
I think there are like pretty much 7 to 8.
Wow.
And the very recent one, new one, is Automation Suite.
Yeah.
That's where I'm headed now. So yeah, that's the only certification which is pending for now because it's announced. Literally, I got to know about it today. And then very recently, just a few months back, when I was doing the job of program manager, project manager, and now you know, right, everywhere AI is a new generation. So everyone is talking about AI. So how do you get a job in AI? That's very interesting. And that's when most of the companies out there, they have courses, but they don't have proper certification for AI. And UiPath has advanced AI professional certification, which I completed, I proved, and I showcased, because in order to get the certifications, you need to prove your work. You need to actually have hands-on experience. Only then you can actually crack the certification.
So, and what's your role now?
So currently I'm working as an AI architect, and the part which actually helped me a lot to get this position of AI architect is the certification. Let me tell you how. So I was working as a program manager, and if you want to step up the ladder from project manager to a new journey or a new role, so I saw that there is an opportunity as AI architect, and most of the products out there, they don't have certifications, but they have courses for AI. UiPath has a certification of professional AI, which I cleared. Obviously, you need a hands-on experience, you need a good amount of experience to work with this product. And the moment you have it, I got the certification and I got the position as an AI architect, which is fascinating.
Can you explain how the companies were thinking and how they are going through their selection process and how they use these certifications? So not from your view, but from their view.
So, as an organization, what organization looks into is that the more certified developers or the more certified professionals we have, the more stronger appearance we have in the presence in the industry, right? So when they step outside, when they talk with customers, they proudly say we have 20 certified developers. We have 4 solution architect certified people. We have 2 AI professional certified developers. So you can imagine we have the capability because we have certified developers. It helps a lot for them to gain advantage in the competitive industry where most of the experts and companies, they are talking about AI. But when you have professional, it helps you a lot in the industry to gain more. And
in the end, they want to get business, but if you're not certified and say, oh, we have somebody, but he's not certified, it's hard for them to sell you. So if you are certified, you're, let's say, top of the list to get hired.
Exactly. So it's not only the benefits for company from business side, but it's also from the networking side, marketing side. You look at the community side, every way you have benefits, because once you are certified, you easily get connected with all the people from community. You get a good networking and you get a good amount of people who are talking about you, right? So when you're certified, people ask you questions, they recognize you, and then that's how your company gets benefits from everywhere.
I'm talking about recognizing you. Many people will recognize him because you're quite popular on your YouTube channel. So you started sharing your knowledge as well after doing your courses, and it brings you a lot of nice relationships, a lot of exposure on YouTube, and you have maybe some other channels, but you're famous in the UiPath community, I must say. That's nice, of course, but that's not the key part why you did the certifications. Yeah. Certification you did for your job. But for all the people that want to learn something about UiPath, they need to follow you. What's your YouTube channel?
My name is Nisarg Kadam. My YouTube channel is also Nisarg Kadam.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Nisarg. And follow Nisarg, because then you can learn a lot and get certified, because that's the way to get your job. I'm going to the next booth, and thanks for sharing.
See you again.
Thanks. So I'm continuing my tour, and we're going to look for some interesting parts, especially for children, where children can really benefit from AI, and most people think maybe that it's dangerous to introduce children with AI, but I think we have a nice example here with Cătălina. Cătălina, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Glad to have you here at our UiPath Foundation booth.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. And we have a tour with all kinds of interesting views how AI is used. And you educate children, and especially children that maybe don't have access to the technology because of their parents don't have the resources, or they are in a situation maybe at home where they don't have the access. Why is it so important for children to have access to AI technology? Because normally people think, oh, AI or all this new technology, when they're older they can get access to it, but not now. Why is it so important?
Yes, I think that we should give children that live in poverty the same opportunities that kids in more privileged or more well-off environments have. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that they have the same chances to reach their potential through technology, AI being one of the skills that they should acquire to be able to thrive in the future. So I think it's very important to at least give them the basic understanding of what AI is, how it works, how the ethics of AI play out, mm-hmm. So they are connected to the world and to the future in the same way as other kids.
And can you explain a little bit the level of education? Is it die-hard programming, or is it more understanding the whole scope what AI can do for you?
Yeah, we have we have several digital skills initiatives to mm-hmm. teach kids. One of them is the AI curriculum. We started with a general introduction into AI, where we teach kids the basics of AI and how it works and how they can make a good use of it, which are its dangers, which are its advantages, or how they can integrate it in their life in a meaningful way. And we also do other types of digital skills with kids. We do programming, but we were really interested in giving them this general knowledge to begin with, and we will progress.
And can you give some examples? Because you just told me more than 1,000 students per year, which is a lot. So what kind of progress do you see with these children? How do they benefit from it?
So we serve 1,000 children each year with the work that we do at the UiPath Foundation. The pilot was for 100 students in high school, the AI pilot. The other students do all kinds of other educational activities. Mm-hmm. We received a very good feedback from the children that took part in the AI course. They really enjoyed having trainers that were UiPath volunteers, so they were real-life professionals that use this kind of tools. So I think kids really connected well with them. We had a great completion rate, and I think they want more. They gave us this feedback, and we are working on it to provide more knowledge for them.
Yeah, and especially if they say they want more, then they liked it, and if they can get their path with AI, at least they can benefit from it and can decide themselves how they can develop themselves faster, better.
Yeah, and teenagers are very honest, you know. Yeah. If they like something, they like it. If they don't, they will let you know.
You can see it. They don't do anything. I have some teenagers as well, so I know by heart. Yeah. Cătălina, thanks a lot, and great work. Keep on doing the great work.
We are happy to be doing this work, and thank you for making it more visible.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye bye. So most of the people are gone already. It's the end of the event, but I think it was interesting to understand what people think about Agentic AI, what they believe, where they are now in the process, what changes they need to make either to themselves, to the organization, and how this is going to impact their job, their enterprise in the positive sense. I'm sure that Agentic AI is going to be an important topic within the industry. It's going to evolve, and we're going to watch it closely. Thank you for joining here at UiPath Forward number 7 in Las Vegas. It was a great event. We're closing down right now, and looking forward to seeing you next time. And of course, I am also curious about what you think how Agentic AI will impact your future. It can be positive or negative. Let me know in the chat and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching and look forward to seeing you next time. Bye bye.